Happy Hump Day, everybody. Happy Hump Day, and welcome to another edition of the Dating Diaries. I am your host, Christal XO. And as you guys know, if you watch every Wednesday, I make up one half of the Dating Diaries. The other half is, of course, none other than Scorpio Mo.
Bam!
Bam!
What's happening, everybody? What's up, Christal?
What's up? Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Hump Day to everybody. How y'all? What's up?
Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Cece, come on in. Come on in. Have a seat. Hope everybody is off to a great week midway through.
That part.
Pulling through. We're moving from spring to summer. Moving from spring to summer.
Yes.
I think I told you I had a friend whose boyfriend broke up with her, and you said.
I said what?
You said you figured because it was summertime.
Oh, well, if you're not serious about a woman, this would be the time, and you want to explore other options or just be free. If you're not serious, this is the time to do it.
And why is that? Explain the mentality behind breaking up at the beginning of the summer, Bo.
Well, a lot of time, once again, if you're not serious.
If you're not serious.
Because, people are out more. People was hibernating all this time, out more, wearing less. Parties become more frequent, spring break, things of that nature.
Okay.
And I'm not saying this right. I'm just saying, and then it's the reverse in the fall. Fall, people start playing the house a little bit more, and you're going to be
it's cold outside. You want to snuggle up on the sofa
with somebody and that things of that nature. And from what I'm understanding, women do it too. They just don't announce it like we do. Women do it too.
Does sundress season have a lot to do with this?
For both parties, in my opinion. For both parties.
Okay.
For the men, because women have their version too. Usually with the girls' trips start to become more frequent. Brunch with the patios and the decks, rooftops. Yeah. And they don't want to be tied down or somebody asking them someone that they're not into asking them where you going.
Okay.
I think it's both sides. It's not just men.
I don't know. You ladies, put it in the chat if you've ever considered the time of year in your dating,
It brings something
I
in
agree with AM says if I don't like you, then I don't want to be with you in the winter I've never considered that.
It's just, it gets into people's systems, and it's just like, well, it's nice out. Before, how it is in the fall and the winter, it could be gray. But once it's nice out, you don't want to be sitting in the house watching Will and Fortune with her.
But why do you want to be there even if you're not? Even if you don't like her, you don't want to be doing that in the wintertime?
Well, you might not like her as much, and you got better options in the spring. If you on that type of time, better options in the spring and stuff. No, you don't want to be tied down if you don't want to be tied down. It's not that you don't like them. You just don't want to be tied down to just them.
I think that's true, Juicy. I've always been an intentional dater too, so seasons never have factored in with me, but Mo has always said this to me. And I think I enjoy the spring and summer and a lot more just because I like to do outdoor things. So, it's just more.
Now, what if you have one of these situations like this? This is something that happens, and you want to be out. Let's say your significant other works during the day, and you're off during the day. You want to explore. You don't want. Some people don't want people to want to have to explain where they're going. They want to, especially I notice in this town, they want to be in relationships, but they want to move single.
That is not that. Now you said a word right there. There's a lot of that.
And I ain't gonna hold you. It's more women than men that do that.
You are holding me, and you're also telling an untruth.
No, but and the reason why I say that is because if usually dudes, if they in it, it might go on both ways. But I think I don't know, because I deal with women, so I would assume. But
yeah, I'm just saying, please understand that you do not interact with men. So I'm telling you.
Well, I kind of got male friends. I mean,
Yeah. But I'm just saying what they tell you and what they do may be two different things. Just like I'm acknowledging what my female friends tell me and what they do could be two different things.
Right.
My name is like sticking out together.
That's fair, but I definitely noticed, especially in this town, they want to move single. I know a couple people, but they want to be in a relationship, and that causes a problem, especially if their partner is like, look at, like, I thought you wanted to be in a relationship, but you're not moving that way, and that can cause an argument in itself.
It can.
That's why what because we're gonna get into the social media aspect of this in our conversation. But
yeah, we are. I would just say, from my experience when I was a single woman, a lot of times men do not, even the ones that will tell you that they're married, or that very seldom will they tell you they're in a relationship. Or if they do, they downplay it and act like they're not happy and they don't know how much longer they're going to be in it. But usually I have seen men be like, I mean, you could see the fact that they're trying to be a good guy on their face. They're like, nah, I'm married. It's almost like they're sad about it.
Hey, that's kind of like when they make the announcement to their friends they're getting married.
That's what I'm saying. It's more men that are in relationships that play single, because men don't typically want to get into a relationship, period.
Well, let me say this. I used to think that, but they can't get in the relationship that they want to get in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of times that's it. But if I ever do the married thing for real this time, I'm gonna be loud and proud with the ring, man. I'm not life's too short. I'm not holding nothing or hiding nobody in the stash and all like that, especially a wife. That's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, hey, African Azatan, welcome. D, thank you for the love and reminding everybody to please like this conversation. Before we get into it, we are talking a little bit about relationship goals. And it's funny because before we get into that, why I decided to open with this conversation, I want to do, as always, our dating deal breaker, dilemma, or disaster, and see if we can relate it to a celebrity relationship. Have you had any interaction or any I guess encounters with a celebrity person, or somebody that you were interested in because they looked like a celebrity?
Not because they look like celebrity. I had one encounter, but that was before they broke. They were signed, but they weren't out yet.
Okay.
And then after that, it was celebrity baby mamas. I've dealt with a couple of those.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give us an example.
Of which one?
Whichever you think would be more entertaining.
There was a woman who I met, and it used to be a popular club, throughout the 90s and early 2000s, 112 in Atlanta. And this was I'm glad we're saying this. This was the time, remember in about 2000, in 01, when they were wearing the cowboy hats before, the women.
Mm-hmm.
But they just didn't have the soundtrack to go with it back then. They were just doing it.
Yeah.
This was that time because she had one on.
Okay.
And we were in 112, and I'm not going to say her name. I'll let y'all figure it out. But I'm in there, and she had a flyer, and she was passing them out, and then she walked up on me, and I'm thinking she's going to pass it like I seen her do and keep it moving. And she stayed there, and we had a conversation. She was from Rhode Island originally, and she looked like somebody else a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
She had a hit record. It wound up becoming a hit record. She didn't have a record out at the time. She told me her government name. She went by another name when she came out. And I thought
text me who it is. I want to know.
Matter of fact, if C Boogie's in the chat, he was with me when I met him. And she told me her name was Tiffany. Her real name is Tiffany. So I'll let y'all kind of play. We'll play a little game, let y'all figure it out. But her name was Tiffany, and she was light skinned. I'll just say that. And yeah, that was interesting. And then fast forward, she came out, and my cousin who was here for Mother's Day, they came in town for business, and Chick was out signing autographs at the record store by Leonard. And I remember she tried to stay in line, and I didn't want to go through all that, but I wanted to get her autograph because she was signing her record.
Why is C Boogie in the chat telling people that they're right?
What did they say?
Blue Cantrell. He said, "Ding, ding, ding." Well, there was really only 2 dings, but
yes, it was Blue Cantrell. Yes.
Well, that's a good celebrity story.
And we had a real great conversation and whatever. And I shouldn't say dumb. She wasn't really my type, but I think I was like, I seen her before. I was on my cool stuff, and I was like, I'm gonna see her again. I ain't gonna sweat it this time. I'm gonna see it, and I never saw her. But shout out to
that's that too cool for school.
Exactly. But that's my one celebrity. That's my celebrity. So other than that is celebrity baby mamas, but that's a whole nother story.
Now that's got to be different. That's got to be different with a celebrity baby mama. That's not really I would think, just because I know a lot of female celebrities, I would think that it would be a very difficult thing to date a woman that has a celebrity ex.
I'll tell you what's even funnier. If he's an artist and you're out on a date and his song comes on the radio,
it's got to be rough.
That's
got to be rough. Where's the Juice says she was in Blacktail magazine back in the day. My dad had it. You remember that copy, Blue? Where's the Juice? I do remember that. I do remember that because she was like the hot, sexy girl for a hot second.
I think she's a little overrated, but yeah.
Hit 'em up style.
That was it.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, I have it's not really a celebrity story because I was not, she made me a man. Hilarious. We won't ask any more questions. Where's the Juice about how that happened? We're able to put that together. I was doing, you know, when I'm working, I'm really not, I'm not in I don't realize when people are trying to holler at me. Right. I'm not really.
Yeah, you be in
yeah, I'd be really tunnel vision. And I think because I never really ever wanted to date anyone that was a celebrity or anything. I never even consider that. So whenever I'm working, I never think that one of them would be hitting on me or anything. So I was at an event and I was doing the red carpet. We were having a really good time. Then there was like, after the red carpet, we had a after party. And so my job again was to make sure when the celebrities got to the after party, they took pictures. So there was a celebrity there, and I won't say his name because he was married, and his wife was there. I told you this. His wife was there. I escorted both of them on the red carpet, and then he asked me for my number like an hour later. And then he came over and started dancing with me. And, you know, at the time, I didn't think anything about that because we were just, you know, the day was over. We had done a film festival. He had a film that was a part of an indie film festival. So we were celebrating. So he came over to dance with me and I was a little bit thrown off, but then I was like, okay, this is fun. You know, he's a pretty big star. And I was like, you know, we're just dancing, having fun. I'm not thinking he's trying to mean anything by it. Well, he did. He did. And so at that point I was just like, oh, your wife? What? And so that was weird. So I didn't consider him, but there was this other celebrity guy that was there that I actually thought was really cute. But again, I don't really be in that mindset because I'm working and I'm not considering myself an option. So there was a girl that wanted to take a picture with him. So a lot of times people would come to the publicist and ask if they can have permission to, do you mind asking them, will they take a picture with me? So a girl asked, could I ask him if he would take a picture? So I did. I was like, yeah. So I didn't even know his real name. I just knew that he was in a couple of TV shows, and I thought he was cute, right? So I asked him, would he take a picture with her? And he said yes. And he said, but do you want to take a picture with me? And I was like, It kind of threw me off because I was like, well, I was asking for her. He was like, but I'm asking you. Can you and I take a picture? Super weird. But then I kind of like, I said, okay. And then he took a picture with his phone. And then he was like, I didn't really understand. It didn't occur to me then that he was like, what's your name? And I told him my name. We, shook hands and everything. And he was flirting, but I didn't know what to do. And things got kind of hectic. So I just kind of moved on. But I felt stupid later because I was like, damn it, Christal. I just didn't know what to do. I wasn't prepared. I was ill prepared for the moment. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was thrown off, and I don't think he was married because I know that there were a lot of girls trying to talk to him, and he was there by himself.
Can we get a hint? I done threw a hint. Can we get a hint?
Hey, Nira. So his name is. So I have to show you guys because you probably won't know his name. His name is James Leisure. But I'll put a picture of him. I'll just show you the picture.
You know they're gonna Google him now if you say that.
Huh?
They're gonna Google him now if you say that. We said that.
Yeah, he was in. Did you guys watch like Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce? He was in that, and there he is.
I can't see that shit, but they can.
Yeah, he's cute. And I always like his characters. He always plays really nice characters. Maybe I'll put him on the screen. I think I should, because I don't want y'all thinking I have bad taste. Oh. Hey, Dr. Tanya, Coach Tanya. What?
You're married to your nice looking man husband. You cool?
I know, but I just wanted to know that I'm very, I'm consistent with it. Like, I'm consistent with it. I don't believe in a non-attractive man.
Oh Lord.
I don't believe in it. It's against my religion. It's against my religion. Hold on. I can't even. Now I'm talking too much trash and can't even get the guys. I can't even get his picture up here now.
We don't care. We know what your husband look like. We straight.
All right. So anyway, he's an attractive guy, but I have no game. I have no game. You know that. I have no game. If I like a guy, I really don't know what to say to them. But if I don't, I can talk all day and all night. If I do, I can be kind of shy. And I was thrown off when he just was like, can you and I take a picture? I was like,
you know what? I wind up my son's mother. That's how I met her. My homeboy was looking at me. And I was like, yo, I think my man over there trying to holler at you. She was like, how you know I ain't trying to talk to you? I was like, that was it.
And you were taken down.
3 years later, had a son.
You guys, how long were you guys together total?
4 years.
4 years. Okay. Well, anyway, I have friend zone many people, but you know what? It all worked out because I'm with who I'm supposed to be with. But that is one I was just like, who does that? Who does that? But hey, Coach Latanya. Coach Latanya's in the chat, Mo. I think I wanted to talk to you guys about just the idea that we have about celebrity couples. I was reading a article today, as I always am, and basically this article said it's about couples goals because so many people have this term of relationship goals that, you know, became really popular on social media.
Right,
You and I were talking about how on Monday when Tamasha came on, she was saying that these couples on Ready to Love are like power couples and you know, so it just kind of brought up the idea of what people consider relationship goals or a couple goals. And so what's interesting about this article is the article said that 30% of Americans rank Barack and Michelle as their number one couple. That's the couple that most people, well, not most people, but 30% of Americans feel is an ideal couple. What's interesting about this statistic is it is not just African Americans. This was overall Americans. So 30% of Americans, that was the couple that got the most votes overall.
Why? Because they fist bump. Fuck out.
Who would you say would be the couple that you could relate to the most? If there, and we all know that celebrities are, you know, we don't know these people. We don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I'm not going to get into the stuff that's going on right now with this trial, but I think a lot of women saw this young lady with this actually billionaire at one point and thought how lucky she was, right? And I think we're realizing that everything that glitters is not gold. But we're just saying, for the sake of argument, what couple do you think is the most down to earth that you really do believe is real?
When I see people like Debbie Allen and Norm Nixon, right?
Yeah.
When I see that and they do business together, they've been together. I'm pretty sure there were ups and downs at some point, you know. But when I see that and I see her like, there's video clips of her dancing on him and laughing, the friendship part of it, not even and you got time in, and you still are friends that can look across the room and laugh at that person, and that's what I see in their eyes. I look for the magic in their eyes, you know, after a long time. But you got to have time in to even think, for me to even think of that. They've been together since the early 80s, maybe 81.
Yeah.
And he was an athlete, and then he wasn't a super top athlete either. And then he went away. So he wasn't coming in, but she was still around. Choreographer, actress, wound up being director, you know, all these different things, and became business partners. And like I said, I know they got at least 2 kids. They might have more, but I know the daughter for sure. And I just think that when you look at the people that have time in, and in that time in now, they, you know, gray hair, and they can still look across the room and smile at each other, laughing. She could dance on him and these kind of things, carrying on like teenagers.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's admirable. I like that.
I like that. African Astan says, I think Michelle and Barack probably received the most votes because of their vulnerability, their honesty, and its transparency. And actually, you're 100% right. According to this article, in 2025, relationship authenticity trumps relationship perfection. People no longer admire couples who appear perfect. Instead, they value relatable relationships that have been proven to weather storms and remain strong through it all. The sentiment couldn't be clearer in America's choice for his favorite couple, Barack and Michelle. And I think, you know, it worried me when Michelle mentioned that they had like 10 negative years, and out of like 30 years of marriage, a lot of people were like, oh, she should have left him. Because I think it proves that, you know, there's no way out of any relationship, right? Any friendship, relatives, sibling, right. There are ups and downs, right? So there are times when you get along with your sibling. There are times when you don't. There are times when you get along with your friends. There are times when you don't. So I think, and you got to think the marital relationship is exponentially going to be a lot more dramatic than that, because you're with that person all the time. We don't see our friends all, you know, every day. We don't lay down with them at night. Same thing with our siblings. Same thing with our parents. So the fact that these relationships are the most stressed, I can say, for my brother and I, we were little, we used to fight all the time, right? But when I went to college, we fought less because I wasn't there. But when I was in the house every day, we were fighting all the time. You know what I mean? So that didn't mean I didn't love him. It didn't mean he didn't love me. But when you are with a person a lot, you have more opportunities to disagree, and so I think this new found idea, right, that whatever doesn't make me happy, I should not entertain, is becoming the death of relationships. One of them, right? Later on in this conversation, we're going to talk about what makes Black relationships different. And I definitely would love to hear your thoughts on that, Coach LaTanya, if you're still here, once we get into that. But there's definitely a set of variables that makes our relationships different. But just overall, relationships between significant others is going to be a lot more difficult, because of what you're exposed to. Marriott says, I like Sierra and Russell because I watched it happen from the White House date. Don't keep up now, though. Girl, that White House date had me concerned. I won't even say why, but I just not even like the White House date. I thought it would look like somebody was angling for somebody else's check, and then the other person just was like, okay, I'll go with it.
Here's the thing. If you ain't got at least 20, 25 years, then I don't qualify you as that. It's still nice, but you need at least that time in.
Coach LaTanya says, does Minister Farrakhan and Mother Khadijah count? Absolutely.
It does, but it does. I don't want to say that. It does. I
would say this. I love listening to Minister Farrakhan talk about relationships. I think that if more of our community listened to his, I know we all have thoughts about theology, but as far as just like the makeup and the design of the household and community, I mean, he's 100% head on every time, from the responsibilities of the husband to the responsibilities of the wife, and being able to carve out exactly. Everybody can't do everything. It can't be 50-50. It can't be both of us do everything. That doesn't make sense in anything. It sounds great now, but it doesn't make sense. So I really, really, I think if there's anyone who I feel like has had consistent, positive, worthwhile, substantial, input on relationships, listen to Minister Farrakhan.
And he's been married for like 70 years or something.
Yes, longer than most people. Some people have been alive. Absolutely. I saw someone else say, Karen asked Mo, what are you drinking tonight? It looks tasty.
It's a mimosa, little champagne, little orange juice.
He has put together a mimosa for himself. I'm not mad at that. What about the guy that was on the football player show, Cam Newton? I don't know who that is, African Asatan, but I know Cam Newton is nowhere near what I would think.
And you see what happened with anyway.
Yeah, Angela Bassett and Courtney B. Vance.
I was going to say that at first.
I have heard some things that I won't say about that, so I don't know. But I like Viola Davis and her husband.
I never seen them.
I have. And I think they are just like, they're not. They take pictures on the red carpet now when she's done a big movie, but their relationship is not broadcast. And when you hear her speak about it and you see the two of them together, it just feels like a regular older couple that,
I got somebody.
Okay.
They have passed, but I did admire their relationship. Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee. And
do you know that they had an open relationship?
Well, now you just killed my whole shit. maybe that's why it worked. Maybe.
Yep. Damn, Ozzie and Ruby were a beautiful couple, but it hurt me to my heart when I learned the truth.
Who confirmed that?
Oh, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. I'm pulling it up. It's everywhere. Because I looked it up because I didn't believe it at first. But yeah, when you go to Google, Aussie and Ruby D explored the concept of an open marriage early in their 56-year-long marriage. They ultimately found that their deep connection and desire for one another led them to embrace monogamy once again. But they were open. Yes, and they returned to monogamy, but
they returned.
They returned, but I mean, the fact they were able to return is admirable, because I know a lot of marriages that are not able to return from that. And if it worked for them, I don't have a problem. I'm just saying, for me, that is funny. Bears Juice says lots of strokes with different folks. Karen says, I just saw a reel of them talking about their jacuzzi usage. It was so cute. Yes, with Viola and her husband. I really like them a lot. And I know you guys, yes, Dr. I'm sorry, I keep calling, well, you are Dr. Latanya. I'm seeing Dr. Latanya, but I call you Coach Latanya, but yes, you are Dr. Latanya now. Dr. Latanya says, ironically, many of the elders were more open than we think. Obviously, that was definitely a thing, and still is a thing behind closed doors. Samuel L. Jackson and Latanya Richardson.
She held that man. Hey, that's a respectable one, at least.
Yeah. I want to say Denzel and Pauletta. However, I have a sneaky suspicion that, it's not even a sneaky suspicion. It's one that's been confirmed, that Denzel put his wife through a lot. He said he had given her reasons to cheat, but he would not ever leave her. And I'm certain, Coach Latanya and others, that their marriage has been opened on at least one end from time to time.
Denzel, as he's getting older, is unraveling a lot of truths.
He is. Samuel L. Jackson was on drugs. Yeah, but I mean, that's not really a reason for us to. That is just, people go through life, and if you can manage to stick by somebody's side, who are we to say if it was worth it or not?
Can I say this? The women back then hung in a little bit longer than they do now. They going in a minute. They'd be like, well, we can't go out next week because I done saw this again. I don't get paid till next week. She's out. The women back then.
Well, I mean, it's one thing if you get into a relationship and that happens, but if you're dating,
Paulette, Denzel's watching, he didn't have enough money for the cab.
I saw.
So y'all can say what y'all want, but the women.
But they were young. They weren't old. They were young then.
You see these young women? They don't wait.
Yeah, you're right. The young women are not. I was watching Ashley Dalton. Shouts out to Ashley Dalton. I really love her content. There was a 22-year-old on there, and she said, I'm dating a man who pays all my bills, and he told me he didn't want me to work, but I want an allowance. I want like $5,000 a week. How do I ask for that? She was 22. Bless her heart. And she just, and I watched the women that call in. They are really looking to get something for nothing. They really are. They really are. I do like Sterling K. Brown and his wife. Absolutely love them. We've seen them do a lot of interviews together and talk about their relationship. It appears, but most importantly, I think that we have to focus on our own relationships and make them our ideal relationship, right? Because we really don't know what other people are doing behind closed doors. And I just want to say that, you know how you saw the couple in your neighborhood that everybody thought was perfect, and then later you learn dad was drunk every night. Like,
that's when the BS come out. The BS always come out when the man passes. It don't never come out when a woman passes.
That's because the man.
And she be on some stuff too, but you'll never know. But when the man passes, you hear, man, this is bad.
Not just pass. Sometimes he doesn't even pass. Sometimes he just gets sick. And then women come out of the woodwork and want to be involved. Or, once he can no longer keep the lie alive.
That part.
But, that is a problem. But, yeah, hey, you there says, my parents and their siblings are still married. But the only couple goals I got are Mary and Joseph.
I like that. Oh, what's the name? Look at what's the name? He had to wait till he died before he passed to put out the videotape. Jerry Springer of them black kids.
What?
When Jerry Springer passed, they put out the videotape.
Oh yes. He had a mistress that he was in love with, and he had the children.
2 black kids.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised to know that Jerry Springer had a black woman somewhere.
When the man passes, that's when women.
I forgot about that. That was ridiculous.
Yeah,
that was ridiculous. Yes, it was. Look it up, Jerry Springer. And they came out and they looked half like Jerry. It was just. It was
he left his fortune to them.
Yeah, he did. He left his fortune to them, but a hot mess. A hot mess. All right. So as I said earlier, we know that all of this stuff is a lot of these Grant Hill and Tamia are cute. I really like them too. I like them.
See, cute and just because I think women start off with cute and then they want to. I don't know. It's just cute.
Well, I mean they've been married a long time,
but we don't know.
I'm just saying we're just speculating on everything right now.
Yeah.
But when she does her little dance, he comes out and does it with her.
I ain't seen that part, but okay.
I think they are cute and solid. Because they can't help it that they're just really good looking people, But they seem happy to me. I don't know, but all I'm concerned about is me and Gun Boss being happy when we can. And you know what? We have a community of couples that we go out with. And I'm really trying to do this for the love of Mo so that Mo can join us. We've tried this before. It hasn't worked.
We're working on it. We'll see what happens.
I don't know that we are. I don't know that you're working with me.
That's you over there.
No, but you have to be believing and working with me.
I'm here. You're doing all the talking.
I'm doing the heavy lifting. But no, I think that it's important to have couples around you that are all on, as Mo would say, the same type of time. Because if you need accountability around you, if you get into it with your significant other, you have somebody that's like, girl, you ought to leave, forget him. That's difficult. But if you have friends that are all like who you surround yourself with, really tells a lot about what you're going to have. So I'm not saying that you should get rid of your single friends, because I definitely don't believe in that. But I do think it's important to have other couples around you that have the same goal. Because if you are the only married person in a group of single friends, they're going to be trying to get you to do something that's going to mess your marriage up. And you have no accountability.
Especially women.
No, especially men.
Dudes fall back. Women want somebody to go to the club with. Dudes go to the club by they
No. Let me tell you something. My husband has married single friends, and they always want him to go to the club. One of our friends said,
Army people, think about his people that aren't his, forget the Army buddies. I understand that. But
how come that's different?
No, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. But the regular guys who aren't in the Army, like, they're not going to do that.
I mean, you don't, but I think other guys do. And I've been out as a single woman when there is a group of men, and the single men will often egg on the married guy to hit on women.
I've never seen that.
I've seen that. And hey, at the end of the day, people do what they want to do. You can't blame somebody. But I have a friend of mine that's married, and he said, I would not expect, if my single friends wanted me to go out to the club with them, I would not think they were my friends, because they shouldn't even want to put me in a tempting situation. Like, that's crazy to me. But
I feel you.
Yeah. But we want to talk about what are some of the issues and just have an honest conversation about some of the issues that make dating even harder for us as African Americans. And one of those things, you know, I saw this I've seen it a bunch of times, but I wanted to share this with the chat and have a real conversation about this. This is a blurb from the Willie Lynch papers. I read this in college. Most of you probably did as well. There are a lot of people that there's like a lot of people that feel like this book was fictional, and it was not true, but I mean, it was not authentic. However, you know, there's cases that argue both sides, right? But if it was not real, the theories are real and they have affected our community. And so I would just say that regardless, you know, I don't want to get into an argument on this platform on if the book was legitimate or not, or the letter, you know, was legitimate or not, because even if it wasn't in if it wasn't in the context, someone saw this and strategized this and it happened, right? And so with that being said, here is a blurb. We breed 2 Black males with 2 Black females. I'm substituting the N word for Black because I don't want to do that. We breed 2 Black males with 2 Black females. Then we take the Black males away from them and keep them moving and working. Say one Black female bears another Black female and the other bears a male. Both Black females being without influence of the Black male image. Frozen with an independent psychology will raise their offspring into reverse positions. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her. We negotiate her at will. The one that with the male offspring, she being frozen with a subconscious fear for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. Now, in a few years, when these 2 offsprings become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. That is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning. Whew. If that is not true, I don't think it's fake. I think that it could be out of context, but so many things resonate with that. Even if it doesn't matter where it came from, the strategy was used on us, right? So if you all don't think that someone created this system, then you are more naive than I can imagine. Because we know, regardless of what the book said or the letter said, we know that slaves were used as breeders. We know that the males were fetishized because of their thank you, Coastal Time. We have to have you come back on. They were fetishized because of their virility, because of their penis size, and they were forced to mate to build strong slaves that could work, and they were taken out of the family, right? They were taken away. So then you had a woman that was without protection, and then the woman was without protection, and then she actually felt unprotected. And even though there was no reason, she knew that it wasn't the man's fault. There had to be a sort of resentment there that I'm now alone, being raped and being taken advantage of, and like I said, we're going to negotiate with her, because when there's no father, there's no male protector there, the woman is left uncovered. I just realized you said your birthday. Happy birthday, Coastal Tanya. Can we all wish Coastal Tanya a happy birthday? So I think that even if that letter was not authentically written by someone named Willie Lynch, right? Those ideals and strategies were still exacted upon us.
1000%. Every time I read something like that, and I've read this several times, different portions of the Willie Lynch thing. But I'm always reminded of the Tupac lyric, and keep your head up. We ain't here to survive because it's a setup. And even though you fed up, got to keep your head up. Like, it's a lot of stuff is strategized and planned ahead of time. Like, you coming into a game that's already been played. That you know, I think you'll be, like you said, you'll be naive not to think that something is set up or before you got here, just systematically. Like, we talk about slavery and racism and these sort of things. Right now it's systematic. Like, you just see from the school system to the jail system, that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not all going to go down that path, of course, but a lot of people are going to fall victim, and they know that because it's designed that way. Not everybody's going to win, you know, and everybody's not going to win in general anyway. But when you got a system and you put people in this space and give them this education and you limit their resources, then things are going to happen. And they know that.
Yeah, and I think, you know, even I just disagree. Hey there says that I think people make those ideals fit what happened. I don't believe so, because on plantations, slave owners would they would do these things systematically. They would talk to other slave owners. They would, and that's on record. If you look at, and I you know, there are so many advertisements, flyers for what they were looking for with slaves, right? Mm-hmm. And so you cannot, that was not by accident. They knew, you know, that if you take a father out of the house, the children are exposed. The mother is exposed. You know, that's elementary. And when you're working to mentally control someone, slaves were controlled mentally and physically, right? Not just beat, they were beat physically, but when you take here's an example, you take a young man and you hang him and you invite people out to see for the other townspeople and the other slaves, it is conditioning them to know, if you try to talk back, if you try to show your manhood, this is what can happen, right? So there's no way that this was by accident or that this was put together after. They were strategizing on how to make sure that Black people or slaves at that time were not able to ever break out of that mental hold.
Thank you. When you, it's a lot of stuff. Like, psychology didn't come up today.
No.
Since the Roman days, when you listen to Machiavelli and all these philosophers and their theories on stuff, like, things have been practiced for a long time on how to do things and how to move, you know, strategically. And you have to be, even in the workplace today, how they set things up. You'll never, if you have a, let's say, an owner of a business, you have a supervisor, you have a regular employee. The owner would never scold or recommend the supervisor or the manager in front of the regular employee.
Yeah.
That's done for a reason.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. Like, this stuff has been proven. They teach this stuff in school on how to maneuver. That's why this class is on management. They're not just teaching you how to manage the business. They're teaching you how to manage people.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's not about psychology as far as what it was called. She said psychology as a field came about in the 1800s. Yeah, but we're talking about the practice of it, not the scientific term that was then, okay, but we're talking about just understanding how to manipulate other people, right? So when you read things, a $20 reward for a runaway slave from the subscriber, a Negro fellow by the name of Stephanie. He's about 21 or 22 years old, 5 feet high, of light complexion and ordinary size. It is likely that the said fellow ran away and may be lurking about Wilmington. The above reward will be given for the apprehension and delivery to me of Stephanie. Like, and I think what it is, a lot of us are so, it is because we're not evil people by nature. It is unfathomable for us to realize that there were people who did this on purpose. Like, it sounds crazy, right? It sounds crazy that you would want to pit Black men against Black women from slavery time so that they would not be able to work together. But that is true. Think about it. The fact that these people, and I'm not, this is not to make us, this is not a history lesson for us to get upset or feel offended, but it's really for us to acknowledge and understand that the disconnect often that is between us as men and women stems from something deeper that a lot of people don't have to deal with. A lot of races don't have to deal with. So when you see, ads for women and for men, and the women, they are looking for Black slave women or girls who are able to birth a lot of babies so that they can have a lot of slave labor. It is divide and conquer, but it's not just divide and conquer, it's divide and emotionally destroy, so that if they do get free, they will not work together. They will not work together, And so I think that, yes, of course, Michelle, we want to know what happens now. But I think in order to heal that and really not hate one another or be disgusted, you have to know that this was long planted and nurtured and built. And so it takes a lot to break that down.
Right. So we're not blaming each other, and then we understand it's something else. And then we can, like they said, once you figure out what it is, you accept the fact that it wasn't us, and then you're able to move forward. I mean, that's a step anyway.
Yeah.
It's a step.
These just, oh my gosh. Listen to this. For sale, a Negro girl, nearly 19 years of age. She is well versed in all kinds of housework and is a very good spinster. It is believed that she will particularly suit a farmer. She is a slave. Now, what do you think that was? What do you think that girl was going to be used for?
Really?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it is still being nurtured. A healthy Negro girl, about 18 years old, fit for town or country service. A Negro man, about 67, and a Negro woman, about 57, to be boarded out. So you guys realize there's no talk of these families. Like, did that girl have someone she was in love with? She's being parceled out to use, right? So you got to think, where was her father? She didn't have a father. Her father was taken. Like, they took away a man's right to be a father. They took away a woman's right to be a mother and take care of her babies. And so generationally, there has been a lot of trauma. So I just think that sometimes, we get on here, we have a good time, right? We have a lot of fun. We make a lot of jokes, but a lot of the issues are stemming from something a lot more serious than the Instagram jokes, right? And I also think that when we say as women, well, Black men always do this. And when Black men say, oh, I don't like to hear Black women's mouths, they always do this. We have to realize that attitude and that belief system is partially unfair because look at what was done to us. Yes, there are many of us who have been able to move forward. And thank God that we are resilient people, right? Thank God that there are so many of us who have gotten education and who have fought through the mud and the mire to get to the next place. There are so many of us who can look at our situations and find opportunity, but there are still so many that cannot. And when you have a history of, many of us have grandparents that were still alive when or still were a part of the slaves being free, right? Great grandparents. Yep. There are people that one of my grandparents was alive when they were picking cotton, right? So you can't say this is so far removed to where it no longer affects us, right? If the grandfather and the grandmother were, or the great grandfather and the great grandmother, my great grandfather left the South because he had a fair skinned wife, and that wasn't allowed, right? That's how they ended up in Ohio from Georgia. So that idea of a black man not supposed to be with a certain type of woman, it was there then. So we cannot be that far from all of this. We just are not.
Imagine that. Then we move forward to late 60s, early 70s, when, let's say, family was struggling.
You scared me. Jesus, help me. Huh? We're in here having a conversation, baby. We're in here talking about how the disconnect between black men and black. You just gonna bust in? just bust in to interrupt the conversation. Okay.
What's up, Mo?
He can't see you.
There was a family struggling in this.
Yes.
What's up, Mo?
Hey, what up, man? What up? And the woman in the family needed assistance. She could not get assistance if there was a man in the house.
Yeah.
Mind you, they both can't find work. Or if it is, it's only part-time. Because welfare then, you couldn't have a full-time job and have welfare. You have a part-time job, but not a full-time job. He can have, but he can't get nothing, but they can't live together, and they will assist her, but they won't assist him, and he cannot be in that house.
He can't be in the house. And this is, Hey You There says, in the 60s and 70s, women were given the right to have a credit bank account without a man. That is when I was born in the 70s. You guys were born in the 70s. I know you weren't. Hey You There. You were born later, but the fact that women could not get a bank account or have credit without a man in the decade that we were born is crazy. And then you got to also think if they would not let a woman have a bank account, like you could get a bank account and have credit, you could get welfare, have that without a man, you could get welfare as long as you didn't have a man. The message was you're better off on your own, right? You're better off on your own. You can get credit, you can get more without him, you can get help, you can get assistance.
The welfare was your man.
The welfare became your man. And I just think that we do have to acknowledge all this is a part of why there's such a disconnect. There's a lot of people that were, and you realize they didn't even tell half the country that slavery was dead until later. You know, they were just.
Hence June 10th.
Until later. So it just is crazy. I want to play this other clip because we talked about like the slavery and the ugly part of it is what happens in the beginning, right? But this I feel like is what has happened afterwards.
Black man economically die.
So we're talking about a couple, power couples, and being in Black power, and there are a lot of proof, a lot of evidence, specifically from the 60s and 70s of how we got to this place, right? And to where, you know, I've shared on here before. I have friends that say I don't want to date a blue collar man, right? And I think we should all have what we want. And I think when we work really diligently to get to a certain place, it's okay. It's okay to say what you want, but I do think it's important to understand the reason that certain things are the way they are, right? I had a really interesting conversation with some men this weekend. We went on our ATL Love League outing with 4 other couples. And what the guys were saying is that it's difficult for a Black man to be in corporate because a lot of times a lot of women, I know for myself working in corporate, I have bit my tongue a lot, right? So a lot of times you are belittled or demeaned, but because you know you need your job, because you know you have to feed your family, you can bite your tongue. What a man is not necessarily going to do that. And so and he's seen as a different type of threat. So you don't see the same numbers of Black men promoted in corporate America as you do see white men or white women and ultimately Black women. And so the men were saying it's easier for a black man who doesn't want to deal with being disrespected to get a job in, HVAC or plumbing or something like that, because then it's more hands-on. It's more about the skill set and fixing something than it is about politics, right? And a lot of times it's hard for black men to politic because it's going to require them to give up their manhood in order to do that. Michelle Smith says, so let me tell y'all something. Black diasporans are keeping their families together without legal marriage because of welfare. The disconnect is slavery. That is really interesting. I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to hear more.
So yeah, I think, so when you hear women say that, and do you agree with just the idea of it has been difficult? It is difficult for black men when it comes to corporate America in a much different way than it is for women.
I think it is. I think just our presence alone, our presence, our masculinity, when we step in the room, I think certain people feel threatened already. It's just that kind of energy. Someone told me, they was like, if you ever watch the news, you ever notice they make the black man shave off their mustache? I was like, for real? They was like, just watch, just pay attention. It's just certain things, like you come in with this different, because they already have these, if you ever work with all white men and you're a black guy, you're going to hear things that you wouldn't hear if the room was balanced.
Yeah.
And I've been in that situation. And
give us an example of something that you would not hear if the room was balanced.
Well, here's the funny thing. We all used to watch the 5 o'clock news together. Or was it 5 or 6? One of them. The news together. And it was bad. The first, you know how news go, the first 15 minutes is grim. It's all bad stuff. And I had someone say to me, which was funny, it was like, you're the whitest black guy I know. And I was like, me? To myself. I didn't say anything to them. But in that same situation, I had black guys that would come in there. I had a black guy tell me one time I was an Uncle Tom. And they get the meaning of Uncle Tom all messed up. If they really understood it's all messed up. But I understood what he was trying to say, which was still messed up. But to me, where I was working at, it was like, I'm supposed to fool them, which I was. But I'm not supposed to fool you, my brother. I'm at work. You want me to act like you when I'm at work. I'm not about to do that. And not that I'm faking anything, but it's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I want them to think. They can think whatever they want. I don't really care because I know when I get out of here, I'm just as street as anyone else out there.
Right.
But I have nothing to prove to them. But I'm supposed to fool them. But I'm not supposed to fool you.
Yeah, but they also, there's this idea of, and I was told that, Christal, you're a different type of black girl. And I'm like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm just the type that knows I need this check, and I've been to school and I know how to speak, you know what I mean? But I'm not any different than them. And I think that's what I really appreciate about my son is that he is one of the most educated people that you will meet, working on his PhD, teaching fellowships, all these different things, celebrated author, but we'll tell you in a minute, don't get it twisted. I am here for my community. I am not different. I just had more opportunity because of my mom, but I am not different. But I think what happens a lot of times is this: in corporate, they will decide, just like it was done back in slavery, right? The slave master would pick one of the slaves and make them the favorite so that they were able to get information and they would betray their I don't want to say colleagues, but their fellow slaves. And so what he would do is you can come in the house and eat, you can get a little extra food if you tell on them. And that happens in corporate America. So they'll decide to make one black guy the good black guy, and that guy will turn on the others, and the others will turn on him. And it enables them to say, oh, we're not racist. We've got Kyle. Kyle is our Negro, you know? And then the other guys resent Kyle, and then they're able to say, well, we don't have to hire any more of them. We really don't like Kyle. He's our token, right? I was talking to a friend of mine one time about the idea of the golden black Negro. There's a movie called what is it? The Case Magical Negro. Oh my gosh. Let me look it up. It's really good. David Allen Greer plays in it, and I believe it was written by either Key or Peele, one of them, I think, did it. But it's a great film. And it basically highlights how they will well, the spook who sat at the door was definitely the beginning of that, right? That's the original. Original.
And I matter of fact, I'm gonna let a little secret out today. We're gonna get to that, but the spook that sat by the door is definitely me. Yeah.
The American Society of Magical Negroes. You guys watch that. It's totally satirical, right? But you'll understand it. And I think, you know, when you put that, when you correlate that to relationships and how we are supposed to build families based and you know, the man may not be able to. You have your blue collar guy who could be a perfect fit for you. If you're a director of marketing or VP of marketing for, you know, Google or Coca-Cola, your blue collar man may not be the best date for your corporate party because he's going to be made to feel uncomfortable, right? And so that's why a lot of women who are in those positions feel very uncomfortable with dating someone who's not. But their equal, who could have started out as their equal, would not be able to get one of those positions because he would be seen as a threat. So we have to date for who is the best fit for us, for our authentic selves, as opposed to who America wants us to be.
That part, I love that, man. I love it.
I just thought we should have a real conversation today. Like I said, we do a lot of fun, and we have a lot of fun. But I just think that sometimes you need to really talk about why things are the way they are, you know. And I do think, you know, we're kind of hard on men. Sometimes it's a female-driven platform. And, you know, Mo gives us a lot of reasons to be hard on men. But just kidding, kind of, sort of. But also, I do think we have to give men some grace, Black men some grace, because of everything they have endured. And I think that, and that's, we are planning to have a panel around Father's Day, kind of on this topic, because it goes even further, you know, into, you know, fatherhood and how that is often, there's so many glitches with that, you know, and I have a lot to say about that. But tonight we're just talking about the disconnect between Black men and Black women. And
so with just that, and then you add in, like, and I saw Judge, not Judge Hatchett, Judge Lynn Toler.
Yes, I love her.
Of divorce court, speak on this. And when she said it, I mean, you hear it, but when she said it, someone that, you know, it was a lawyer, judge, it really, I was like, yo, it's here. When someone's like, someone of that stature just saying it. This social media stuff has really, it entered the room in a big way. You know, you would hate to think that, oh, it's just social media, but social media has a presence like no other, like maybe since television first.
Yeah. No, it is. It is television. And I think specifically for the younger generation, they look to social media. Our generation can say, oh, that's just social media, but their generation is looking at it for, that's where they get their primary influence from.
And yeah, so when she said how that is becoming, is such a fact in relationships now, man, I don't know, it's discouraging. It's like, wow. So how many grown people of a certain age have really fell for that and like could not turn it off and could turn it off and just move forward and be like, that's just that. But then when you talk about the people, like you said, it's the Bible to some people.
It is, but I think, because it's very crafty, you social media sets us all up for failure because your algorithm is shaped by what you watch. So if I watch relationship conversations that favor women, I'm going to see that all the time. If I watch relationships that favor men and make men feel like they are the primary prize, then my feed is going to be filled with that. So you never get a real objective vantage point because your algorithm is shaped by what makes you comfortable. And that's why I feel like we have a responsibility to make sure that we are speaking and it's, I think, in a collective as opposed to just on what are points that make people excited, right? So we can get on here and talk bad about both sides because we can say women don't do this and men don't do that. But I think in order for us to be, and I think for me, this channel is really about having real conversation. I love the fact that we have a chat that allows that. We have fun and we kiki, but we also have real thinkers on this channel, and they're not just looking for the negative. They are looking to talk and have a real conversation.
Let me ask you this. What do you think is the step in the right direction? What would be the first step in the right direction? Not saying you have all the steps, but just in the direction that you could give maybe someone young listening, someone listening under 40 perhaps, like, because that's why I'm gauging that. That's where it kind of cuts off.
Our banter is quite elevated on this channel. Yes, Haitian Empress. We do. We are the intellectuals on YouTube. But I think je parle français aussi. Un peu. But I think that the best advice that I would give someone that's young is to study their history. Mm-hmm. And as horrible as that sounds, because I think what gave me a different perspective was when I went to college. I went to University of Oklahoma, and I remember one of my first classes was African American literature, right? And so I grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I was, went to a predominantly Black school, but it was a school for gifted kids that were Black and white. There was white kids also, but it felt mostly Black, probably like 50, 55, 45. But that felt like a Black school, right? And so I grew up, kind of, because all the kids there, one thing we all had in common was everyone had a certain GPA, everyone had certain test scores, different. But then when I got to college and I was able to learn, that class was a game changer for me, African American literature, because then I was able to read not just the Willie Lynch papers, but Chinua Achebe and all these African American authors that weren't just telling fun stories, right? Because before when you're in high school, you're going to read Malcolm X, the autobiography of Malcolm X. You're going to hear about slavery, but you don't hear about it from the perspective of what it did. And there was a book, and I'm going to have to find it and bring it here. And I may actually task myself with doing another edition or another perspective on it. But it was like love letters between slaves, right? And it was, it blew my mind because that book showed me that these were people. Because when you see slaves when you're young, you don't think about what were those person's dreams, hopes, what kept them alive, how they feel. Yeah, you humanize them, right? And I think that if you start to study what happened and you see the diabolical things that were done to not just people being whipped in the field, but rape and rejection and intentional, planned families torn apart to keep the families from becoming too able to revolt. Like when you start to understand that, then you can understand how we got to this place. And even if you don't go back to slavery, but if you look at how, like Mo talks about, in the 80s, crack was released into neighborhoods to destroy them.
That's
and so
great.
you have, think about this, and I don't want to preach too much tonight, but I'm just saying, if you think about a man who comes home, he cannot get a job, or he cannot earn enough to take care of his family. He is discouraged, he is down, he doesn't feel like a man, because that's what happens when men are not able to provide for their families. Their whole self-esteem and self-identity is tied up in their ability to provide, and he can't provide. And then you have this drug that takes away that feeling. He is susceptible to that. And then you have an entire generation of parents, men and women, that fell prey to that. My dad was one of these people. My dad was a drug addict, right? I have a girlfriend that visited me. Her mother was a drug, like, this is real. It's not just, it's real.
I'm glad you said that. That's real. In the 70s, they say, like, in the 70s, when the guys came back from Vietnam, that's when the heroin epidemic came. And then the 80s was the second wave. They say the 70s got the men, the 80s wind up getting the women.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, and if you don't believe it's true, you can look at Ronald Reagan, read Oliver North, all the stuff that happened in the crack era. Then you can read even before that with the whole what is that? When the China White was coming in, the dope was coming in the 70s. People like they mentioned Frank Lucas, but he wasn't really, whether it be Nicky Barnes or a brother named Frank Matthews, who actually got away. I don't know if y'all ever go on YouTube, read the Frank Matthews story. It's a very interesting story, but when you see the stuff that was happening, somebody had to let it happen because there were planes bringing it in. Some was through ships, but there was a lot of planes and a lot of things were happening. But what I'm saying, that between slavery and drugs itself really wiped us out as a and unfortunate, and some of us were able to survive. Like, I don't want to make it such a bad story, like we aren't strong, resilient people, because we are. That's why we're sitting here talking and figuring it out. But I think Christal's thing was, like, we need to talk about, the fact that it destroyed relationships between men and women, not just self, but between, we're having kids, babies, and that dynamic. And then they're babies in that dynamic. Every time you see a generation go wild and crazy, it's easy to blame them, but you also have to put some blame on who raised them.
What happened? And then I'm just going to give one last thing, and then we'll get into For the Love of Mo. Mo, Jamie asked what show were we talking about? What show we were talking about and what network? I don't even remember what show. Were we talking about a show? I think I was talking about an article I read.
I know what I was just talking about. You could go Frank Matthews' story. Please read that.
Oh, yesterday. Jamie, I'll call you when we get off. So I want to say this. Like, I think about Tupac, right?
Right.
Tupac is one of our faves. I think he's one of everybody's faves, especially because he passed away, right? I don't know if he would continue being our fave if he had lived past 24, probably, because he was ridiculously intelligent. But I'm just saying, when you lose somebody that young, it's easy to glorify and idolize them, right? Just giving it a fair go, because we definitely have this. And I loved him then, but I kind of felt about Tupac like I feel about Chris Brown. Like, oh God, are you gonna be okay? Like, we need you to be okay, right? Because you're super talented. We need you to be okay. But you think about somebody like a Tupac that grew up in a home with a mother that was a drug addict. And just because a parent is a drug addict does not mean you don't love that parent. So he had tremendous love and respect for his mother, but there was also a internal turmoil because of you having to put money in your mailbox and your mom not being okay, right? But there was also no father around, right? Dad was locked up or whatever. So you see a young man that's going overcompensating for his masculinity, right? And I think that is the vision or the symbol of like, oh, he seemed tough. When I thought about it, I was like, you know what? He grew up very not tough, right? Dance, art, poetry, softness. With Jada, who felt like she had to protect him. We know we're not taking her story into account, not doing that. I'm just saying we saw these things. We saw him dancing, you know. And then when he got started to rap and his career started to blow up, his artistry took second fiddle to his masculinity, right? Because then he was angry and that was what made him seem sexy, right? Because he seemed over the top, he seemed aggressive, he seemed angry. But this is also a man that grew up in a home without guidance and without a male influence, a consistent male influence. Yes, his mother was a part of the Panthers, but that's also been glorified because for a lot of time he was on his own trying to figure it out.
There's a switch that comes on entering manhood, especially if you're around the streets and the streets are available to you and you start to try to navigate through that.
Mm-hmm.
And your mother's lost. And there's no male the male is trying to hand you a G-Pack, a couple grams, and you see what I'm saying? And then you got to navigate that. And there's no guidance. Like she gave you the guidance to have a heart and compassion and love. But where's this other side? And you're trying to figure it out. And what a lot of dudes do is they try to emulate what they see and be over the top with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's not, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they overcompensate for what they didn't have. And sometimes they able to fake it all the way through. And then sometimes it's like you bump your head, and that one too many bumps can take your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's interesting to me when I see people talk about people like you guys, you know, I mentioned Chris Brown, and I didn't mean to go into that, but you know, Chris Brown, Bobby Brown, these are talented men that grew up in a very troubled home, very troubled. But the thing about being a man is even if you grow up in a troubled home, there's no grace. When you turn 18, you better know how to be a man. You better know how to be a man.
Thank you for saying that.
But there's no grace in there, right? And so it's funny to hear people talk about people that they have not met and they don't know. And I'm not saying that I know these people, but I've definitely met them and been around them. And I just would say, if you feel someone is unworthy of your prayers or your empathy or your compassion, just don't say anything. You know, because even the biggest villain was created.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not saying that as an excuse, but I'm just saying, like, if you don't feel empathy and you don't feel, you know, you feel like you want to say this person is evil because of what you've seen and you don't know the whole story, then probably just, you know, keep it to yourself because you don't know where that person came from and you can't speak on it because of what you've seen on television.
That's a real thing because you and I know some people. Definitely know some people who, if society just looked at them from the outside, they would think they're the worst people in the world. But they've been some of the kindest people. The people I know. We ain't talking about Chris Brown, nobody. But they'll be like, yeah, if you get on their bad side, it might be that. If you do, but these people will like give you the shirt off their back. Like for real. I just know some guys, man, and I'm not trying to justify anything bad that they've done, but I know what they do for the people that they love. And that's real.
And that's the thing. I used to always wonder, how could drug dealers be so kind and so loving with
Man,
their children, right? And have so little empathy for others.
because that
And
survival tactic to survive in that game is to do that.
yeah,
Other wouldn't survive.
there you go. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Can you say it again?
Just to survive in that world, it's like going into your job or whatever it is, like for your family, your friends, you gotta have compassion. But in order to have this occupation, unfortunately, you have to be ruthless or get out. It's not built for it's you can't you just can't have that. And some people try to, and those are the people who do not survive. But and
It seemed like, watching the Frank Lucas story. Well, no, Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy Johnson, that the Godfather of Harlem, amazing series. Y'all, please watch that.
Yeah.
Please watch that series. So good. Because the issue with that is when when Bumpy Johnson tries to go legit, right? Because a lot of people do have conscience, right? It's like, I made money, but now I don't want to keep doing this to my community. They weren't able to stop. That's one of those things where you get in and you can't really get out. It's not that easy. So I think sometimes before we just can't judge. Can't judge. Judge not, lest you be judged. I think that is actually from the good book. The good book. All right, guys. It is time. You got something?
I gotta take care of something real quick. Hold up.
You gotta take what? You gotta take care of something. But it's time. It's time. It's that time of the evening for the Love of Mo, hosted by myself, Christal XO. Now, if you guys have been watching, you know that I am trying very diligently to find a suitable match for my brother here. I'm very diligently trying. I'm on BLK. And you know what, y'all? It's just the music that it allows me. See, Boogie, can you please create something for me? I meant to ask you that. Can you just create something, a 15-second loop for me that can be for the Love of Mo? It would be hilarious. I was gonna check. That was a different musical selection than last week. But C Boogie, can you please commit? Thank you. C Boogie is gonna make us some new music. All right, see, Boogie, will you send that to me seriously before you
didn't play it, did you?
I did.
I still ain't heard it. I don't want to hear it. Never mind.
I played it, but see, Boogie's gonna make something for me. He's gonna send it to me before next Wednesday. Now, I want to say, I've been having some trouble. I did ask Gun Boss. Let me see if I can get him to come in here real quickly. I did ask Gun Boss for help because you guys did not have a lot of faith in me. And I want to say that I don't take it personally that you guys did not believe. Can you come in here so we can chat about For the Love of Mo? Okay. That you did not believe that I was capable of finding Mo an attractive mate without Gun Boss. But I want to say that most of the people that he picked, I was picking anyway. I just want to say that. But I did feel like Mo would feel more comfortable with Gun Boss. Oh, thank you, C Boogie. I love that. They did me wrong, Tamasha, is what they did. She said, what did y'all do to Christal? They did me wrong. But I have had trouble finding women that align with the physical and, you got to get right here, the physical and also, not he's already sent it. Oh.
He's already.
Well, there's that. There's that. Okay, well, I love it. So I already have it. So you guys, next week, we'll have a better version of music because C Boogie has sent us a signature beat. But let me ask you, on the what percentage of women, put your knees in your back. There you go, rest them down. What percentage of women did you feel like were attractive when we were looking through the profiles on BLK?
Not very many.
Wasn't very many. It wasn't good. I don't know why. Why do you think that is, man?
There's a couple of things. I think people are really outgrowing the dating sites due to the fact that basically Instagram is a dating site. To be honest with you,
Really?
I think that it's kind of played now. I think people are really kind of over it, and that's his style right there.
Mm-hmm.
But also, some of these women that I was looking at, Mo, I'm gonna tell you, some of them look like they had a couple of hip replacements already. But I gotta ask you, what is your age range? I guess that's what I never.
So
asked
I was doing 45 to 55.
Oh, see, that's the problem right there.
Yeah, that's the problem.
What we need to be?
You need to be at least
Or
between,
lower.
like maybe 38-ish to about 45, 47.
No, about 52.
52? I won't say 52. I say about 50.
55 is straight. 55 is straight. Christal got 45 to 55. That's not wide enough.
Yeah, you need to be around like maybe 38-ish.
I'll take a 39 going on 40 this year.
That's what I'm saying, like 38-ish.
But every time it's
Nah, that look like, man.
Who you been talking to? That's what who you been talking to?
Jose,
No.
they all look older when they say that.
That's what I'm saying.
I think they're lying about their age.
That's
Let's go down. Nope. See?
Yeah.
No.
Read
Okay.
I
don't think so.
read a profile.
That's her right there.
You gotta, Mo. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go in here and see how she got it set up, and then go from the
I'm reading the profiles because I don't. This is the
my profile.
This is like. What's that? I think it's some women on here that are into dating other women.
What?
Yeah, I think you.
There are some studs in here.
What you been saying to the people you have been talking to?
I'm just having conversation.
Like what, nigga? What?
I don't have to share that.
Cause that could be the problem. What you saying?
No, but you have to connect with the women before I start talking.
Right. Okay. But I'm saying the ones you have connected.
But I haven't been able to do much. Let me read you some profiles. Let me read y'all some profiles.
Well, the thing of it
I'm
is,
just saying that they're beautiful. You know what's something girls like to hear first.
It ain't. It's how you got it.
Hold on. You out here telling women I said they're beautiful?
Can't hear you.
Yeah. What? I mean, you gotta tell women they're beautiful.
Not yet.
What do you say?
Not yet.
I don't know what I walked into, but let me see how you got it set up for his picks.
Okay, but hold on, Adrian. Hold on.
That's how you be starting out, Christal. Hey, my name, whatever you got my name as, you're beautiful. That's how you be saying.
No, I said you are absolutely beautiful. And she said, "Well, thank you, Kyle."
You got my real name on there? What?
Did I?
No, this was
It's Lamont. It's Lamont. It's Lamont.
Man,
Stop it.
got my real name on there.
No, I'm talking about the type of people that he's looking for.
It's King Lamont. You can't. I didn't speak.
This right here.
Oh yeah. I said 40 to 55.
No, you said 44.
Oh.
Let's move that.
Okay.
Down.
Yeah, take it a little lower.
Adrian, you just want young women. He's looking at the factors. I am thinking like a man. Now, also, a lot of people that say average or curvy, not curvy, because to
You
me,
already know. Don't even say it. You already know.
no, but to me,
To you what?
nothing. I think he just needs slim fit.
No, I curvy. I like a little curvy. Now,
Not these curvy.
yeah. If you say that, I believe you.
Let's see what it is.
Okay, but let me read the profiles.
I want to read the comments, the stuff you've been talking to him.
No. That's good. That's great. That
You find
that
out, I know you better not reply to no Grand Rising.
How old is she? Okay. Let's get her in. Let's get her in the mix. Okay, here she is. This one we like a lot. She says she's 43. She's very beautiful. She is a college graduate. She says no younger men, no poly, married, or separated men, please. Creative Southern Belle looking for my him. Professionally employed, divorced, mother of 2 young adults. I am in a place where I'm looking for something that will lead to a serious relationship. She wants a relationship. She loves tall men over 5'9", no men with younger kids, middle school age, 12 or older, no truck drivers, and only interested in local area Atlanta men. That's good because you are as well. She don't like long distance either. She said not over 75 miles. She also has a picture of banana pudding on here. I don't know if she made it, but I guess that's...
You requesting that for me or for you?
Yeah, that's all she's got here. We got her down.
See how the difference?
What about this?
No, I'm just saying that.
I'm asking you what about...
No.
That last picture.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Nah.
Okay. What's going on here? It's too much. Oh my God. He's funny. Okay. All right. Let me read my profiles that I got so far. Some more new profiles. Remember the chat, not big back. The chat is going to pick which one they like out of all those. Now that first one, did you guys remember that one, right? That one that we just read. That was a new one. We like her. All right. Let's see here. This is another lady. She says she's not a college graduate. She's a high school graduate. She says, I'm cool, spelled with a K.
We already off to a great start.
I'm cool, down to earth. Enjoy having a good time. I'm originally from Atlanta. I have non-tolerance to dramatic or toxic people. I have a great sense of humor, love to laugh. My love language is touch, gifting, communication, and quality time. That's pretty much all of them. I'm looking to meet someone who knows exactly what they want. That's not for the streets. That's looking for love, not help. I like someone well-dressed, smells like money, has his stuff together, and at least is trying to be with a one-woman man. I don't ask for much. Huh?
Nope.
No, you don't like that? Why not?
Because she didn't say smell good. She said smell like money. Nope.
No. Smell like money. Okay.
That's why I said no.
Oh,
No.
You said no too?
If
Okay.
she smell good, it'd be something. What's the fact that money thing? I don't like that. Next one.
All right. Now this girl, this is my only problem with her. She has one of those nose rings that's right here across the thing.
Not a fan. Not a fan of those. Never been a fan of those.
What?
Never been a fan
of those.
I think it means that they go both ways.
The scepter, right? That's what they call it?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. She's really cute, but she just has a scepter. See, babe?
What's she talking about?
All right, let's see. She says, life is an adventure. She's looking for relationships. She's 45. Life is an adventure. I love to share it with someone kind, genuine, and ready to build something real. I'm independent but deeply loyal. And I'm looking for someone who values connection and growth. I just don't know about that because she also has on, can you describe that outfit?
It's just someone that I think this is what I think. Mo, tell me if I'm right or wrong, right? A woman that's probably about no taller than 5'9". Am I right? Ish.
Are you frozen?
No, I'm listening.
He's asking, is that the height?
Yeah, the height.
Yeah, I would even do 5'9". I would even do 5'10". No more.
Okay, 5'9", 5'10". Okay, a woman that has she doesn't wear a lot of makeup. If she does wear makeup,
I think she's pretty. Yeah. I got another one. Now this one, I like her for you a lot, Mo. This is my pick. Adrian, you sign off on the look?
Yeah.
She's very pretty. Originally from up north, been in Atlanta for 24 years, mother of 2 adult sons, wardrobe stylist for TV and film, dating with a purpose. She wants a relationship, beautiful. She's looking for spontaneity, consistency, and fun. The perfect date would be experiencing something new together. And then she ain't nobody got time for texting back and forth. We matched already, so we're both interested. You're the man. Take the next obvious step, please.
I like that.
I'm not
like
mad.
that.
I like a woman that has a little confidence.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
Yeah, not mad at it.
Like,
He'd be justified with that.
All right, so that so far that's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another one. She's 49. A spontaneous introvert who enjoys spending time with family, friends, and that special someone. I'm always down for an adventure, looking to make new connections and explore Atlanta. How can you be here to find compatibility but matching only based on pictures and not reading profiles? Counterproductive.
She said explore Atlanta. That means she's new. That's a no.
Okay, now this is another option. Okay, hold on. Okay. Wow, she's in healthcare. Wow, I can't believe I'm actually doing this, but here I am. Honestly, it feels a little weird, almost like I'm selling myself. But hey, if I had to describe me, I say I'm pretty amazing. I'm a lover of love, career-driven, and most importantly, I have a deep love for God. Let's chat, chill, and see what happens. Be sweet to me, consistent, say something different. Please be intentional. If we exchange numbers, I cannot text all day.
Yeah, I like that.
I low-key am silly. Miss me with the craziness. This is a dating app. Connecting does not mean we together. And then there's just one that looks like your cousin Nira, which made me laugh.
Whoa.
She looks just like Nira, right? I'm sitting this to him. This is fun. That was just funny. So anyway, out of those, I like the wardrobe stylist. Yeah, I set up a profile for my best friend Jamie as well. I'm just getting people in love.
Well, more like I was saying, a woman that's kind of if she does wear makeup, she doesn't put a cake on her face. I think Mo kind of a curvy, slim, thick, but not too slim. You know what I'm saying? She gotta have, and she gotta have something natural about herself, like predominantly her hair, or predominantly her body.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Her body. Basically, I and I think that you can. I think you really want someone that can hold a conversation and knows that knows how to hold not have a conversation, but also know how to hold a conversation instead of you going back and forth. I think you kind of like that. And the first thing about one thing I noticed about Mo, she can't be too loud. She has to be laid back type.
Crystal, listen.
You sent me a DM. I didn't see it.
Type.
I didn't see it. I'll go look for it.
Type thing. I think he's kind of like, the sister girl in the cut, laid back with a drink in front of her. Necessarily not even a drink. She don't have to drink, but just doing women stuff. Like when a woman sits down, she got her legs crossed. If she got heels on, or
is Mo paying attention to that stuff?
What?
Yeah,
is he paying attention to the ladies?
If you would have been paying attention, he would have even been agreeing with me the whole time.
Oh.
Like I said, when she sit down, she cross her legs. If she has a dress with a slit on or whatever, she shows the thigh, but she kind of covers it up a little bit too, just to give you that.
That's my man right there. Listen.
Just basically, a down
a lady.
A lady. You know what I'm saying? A down, when she greets you, she greets you with, surprise on her face. Like, yeah, I'm happy to see you type. Not,
hey,
I'm going through the motions.
Can I say?
I think that's the type of woman that you want.
That's super accurate. Can I say this? Like, that means something to a man when a woman sees him, and just that presence of smiling and happy to see you, that brings joy. Y'all have no idea the joy that brings. I mean,
that sounds like an AI. What? That's some real people out here.
How you gonna get to the sit down stage if he won't talk to anybody? He's gonna talk to these girls.
Well, okay. Let me give you a backstory about. I went out with Mo one time.
Tell him, baby.
So, me and Mo went to a cigar bar, and we were smoking a cigar, and we was having some drinks, and of course Mo told me he's not going out with me anymore because of the fact of I just want to make sure that everybody has a good time. But anyway, we were sitting there drinking, laughing and talking, just whatever. And I just peeked over. I was talking to Mo, and I kind of looked over, and this woman sat down, or a group of women sat down next to us, and one of them was just like, all in me and Mo mouth, and I was like, I looked at her. And, she kind of looked at Mo or whatever. And I was like, I asked, I said, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Y'all come here much, whatever. And then she was like, just memorized by Mo. And I said, well, my friend, this is my friend. This is one of my real good friends. He's single. Are you single? And she said, yes, I am. And I said, well, Mo, this is, and she said her name, and they conversated for a while. They exchanged phone numbers, and they supposed to have went out.
I don't think Mo liked her, babe.
But did you ever go out with her?
I don't think he liked her.
Why not?
Well, number one, she had a bunch of people in her house. She had a lot going on in her personal life.
Oh, okay. I mean, but the thing of it is, if she didn't have all that going on, that was the type of woman that.
He said he didn't think she was that pretty.
You didn't think she was pretty?
No. She was all right. This was during the Olympics last summer, and she was cool, but she had a lot. But she had a real cool personality.
That was the most thing that was the most attractive to her for you.
and she had it, but she had a lot of other issues going on. Her mother just moved in with her as a bunch of kids. She had a lot of stuff going on. Shout out to her though.
Yeah, but you know, but another thing too. I'm gonna tell you like this. When I was dating, I'm gonna tell you what caught my attention about a woman. If she approached me, right? If a woman offers to buy a man a drink, no. Just hear me out. Just hear me out. You don't want to kick me out when it's stuff about women or whatever, right? If a woman buys a man a drink, that says a lot about the character of that woman.
I be trying to tell them they don't believe. It on the show before. They don't believe.
What caught your attention with Christal?
There you go.
The first thing that caught my attention with Christal was the way that she didn't have her. She showed, you know, pictures say a lot, right? No, if a woman buys you a drink, is not a doormat. No.
See, why y'all even negative?
What caught me about Christal was the fact that when I initially talked to her, it was.
What about my pictures?
I mean, it wasn't too revealing. You know what I mean? It wasn't too revealing. It was just enough to tease you, to wonder about what else is out there. You know, yeah, you know, it's the summertime. People got shorts on or whatever. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't need to see the bottom of your ass hanging out, because of the fact of it is that tells me everything I need to know about you. You know what I'm saying? That you like attention. You know, and you know, and men are going to give it to you, because the first thing they're going to do, they're going to like, oh, she you know, she's a one that she's another one I can put on my belt as a notch. And that's just being real. But if you got a woman that's you know, she got a sundress on and it, you know, nicely fits her body or whatever like that, you know, that leaves a lot to the imagination. That lets you know that, hey, this woman really cares about herself and her image. So she's not going to do anything, if she's with you, she's not going to do anything to bring more attention to her and more attention to what's happening within their era.
We want you good, but still respectable. There is a balance.
Yeah.
Just look good and look like you're available to everybody. You can look good and respectable. That's
right. Yeah.
So tell what about our conversation made you
want? When our conversation happened, it was
okay. So I said, what set Christal apart? Seems like options are in every form. Great. How were you able to see through the filters society places?
Great question.
Christal never put herself out there like that. You know, it was more. I like the confidence that she had. That's what made me really. No, Christal don't drink, so no.
and Christal would never have bought him a drink. I've never done that.
I have no game. Listen. I'm just saying for like what needs to happen now. You know what I'm saying? Society, you know, I heard y'all talking about something about how society has put an image on us as black and white, or white, black on black, whatever. Society has put, and it's not you're chasing male. I hate when women think that. It's not, when a woman buys a man a drink, it's not you chasing them.
Thank you.
It's not you chasing them. I hate that. Just like women, when women hear the word submit, the first thing they hear is like their eyes get big, and they're like, oh no, that means I need to, you know, be his coming to America thing, woman, you know, like hop on one leg. No, that's not what it means. When if you're interested in someone, right? Yes, you know, naturally the thing is for a man to approach a woman. But let's just say this. Let's just say like if me and Moore are out, I'm just saying for instance, if me and Mo are out, and you're sitting across the room, and you see Mo, right? And you like, he's just been, chopping it up with his friends all night or whatever, and he doesn't know that you're there.
Thank you.
But if you say, okay, well, you call the waitress over, hey, can I, send that guy over there a drink, whatever he's drinking on last, get him a drink. And you know what though? And that'll get his attention. Just because you initiate doesn't mean that you're gonna finish.
Can I tell you why I didn't? Can I? Or you still talking?
But see, y'all look at it as, well, I can wear this dress or cleavage hanging out to get his attention. You don't know a drink. Like, I don't know, man. Y'all.
I would say this. I mean, everybody has to do what they want. I have never bought a drink. Because I just don't, and men don't, I think they don't ever tell you, yeah, you got to make sure they're single. Because if you buy one a drink and
but you already observe him all night.
But he could have a woman at home 9 times out of 10 he does.
Okay. Why gotta be 9 times out of 10?
Because they usually do.
Okay, but this is what I think, man. Yeah, women has it. I'm gonna be honest with you. We after 9 o'clock. Yeah. Women got it fucked up.
Oh God.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Women got it fucked up. It's not. We gotta stop. We have to go outside the norm sometimes.
Thank you.
We gotta be uncomfortable sometimes to get comfortable. That's all I'm saying.
So if you smile at a person, make eye contact, that doesn't work.
Yeah, I mean, let's just say that you can smile all you want to, but the thing about it, like if you smile at me, you may be smiling at me or whatever, but I'm looking directly past you. I may not even see it.
I don't know.
You understand what I'm saying?
Hold on. So we got a caller that has some questions to ask. So I'm gonna add her audio to the stage. Hello, caller. She's on mute. The caller is on mute. The caller is on mute. You got to unmute your call. Unmute your phone to ask your question.
Anyway, I just think that we need to change up the dynamics of it. Women always talk about they so independent and this and that. I can earn what I earn or whatever like that, and I can bring this to the table, bring that to the table, or whatever like that. And yes, right. What's her name? Tamasha wanted me. Yes, men like chivalry too.
There you go. God.
You know what I'm saying? That's when you're considerate of a man. You're more like my granddad used to tell me all the time. You'll catch more flies than honey. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But if you smile at a guy and he's looking right past you, he's probably not attracted to you.
No, but sometimes he's not on that type of time. It might cause you to do that for him to pay attention. It's like y'all want men to jump out the window all the way for y'all, but you can't.
From the beginning.
God dang.
From the beginning, you want men to jump out the window.
Turn around and buy.
You jumped out the window.
Like it ain't like what it is they see
about now. I don't know what dating scene is now, but what I'm saying is, from what I've seen and what I've talked to my friends or whatever, this is what they want. This is what's out there now.
They want to reverse the roles.
No, it's not reverse the roles. It's not reversing the roles. I don't understand why y'all keep saying it's reverse the roles. It's just being a woman.
Being a woman, but what the way we were taught to be a woman was not sending men drinks.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't have said a drink. Yeah, I mean, just walk up to him and say, hey, how you doing?
Here's the thing. Y'all want to elevate and everything else, jobs, this, that, and the other, but you don't want to elevate and do something a little different. No one say you got to continue doing that, but just God.
Exactly. Just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit. You know.
Change with that, and then y'all wonder why y'all single. Come on, man.
Well, this took a turn. This took a turn. we are trying to end on a positive note. And so we were talking about basically how these things have become disjointed. But hopefully we went on a group date with a lot of great couples that, are all trying to trying to be great husbands, trying to be great fathers. And I do think there are a lot of men that are trying to do that. And I also think that if it's the right man for you, if you show up and you be intentional, like some people, there may be a man that needs a woman to come walk up to him. And then there are also men that don't. So I am not the type of woman that was ever going to walk up to a man ever. I just am not. But I probably missed out on some great guys because I don't do that. But I'm okay with that. Everybody has to be okay with what they're doing. And I don't think you should allow anybody to tell you to do something that's outside of your comfort zone. If you don't feel like that's you, it's not like, I'm not saying comfort is important, but I'm saying like being complacent. But for me, I just didn't want to do that. You know what I mean? And so I found a guy that approached me. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But for the men that want the woman that comes up to them, trust me, there are a lot of women that will do that.
Can I say this? It's not that we want y'all to. We're just saying if y'all getting frustrated and tired of waiting, then do something about it. If not, just sit there and wait.
Yeah, I was willing to wait.
But that same guy might not wait. He might approach another woman. He might not see you. He might not have his mind space there. He might not be there for that. Because you approach him doesn't mean that he wants. Y'all getting it twisted. But I get it.
I mean, it's not the fact of the man you want to reverse roles or anything like that, like you said earlier. It's not that. It's just society is different now. You know what I'm saying? Society with the whole social media movement and all this and that, it's just different. You gotta, like you said, you just gotta sometimes you just gotta come out your norm and say, okay, you know what though? Just like you say, if a woman goes into work and asks for a promotion, the worst thing that somebody could say is no. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, one monkey don't stop the show. You just keep going. I mean, but the thing of it is, every now and then, I ain't say do it every time you see someone or whatever. Every now and then, you use the approach. Use the approach, because there are some men out there that are shy to approach. But once you break the ice, make a smile, say, hey, you ain't gotta do anything. You walk up to them, and they at the bar, and you see them, you kind of eyeing them, kind of checking them out or whatever like that. Instead of you saying, when he gets ready to pull out his wallet, I say, oh no, I got that. And I guarantee you that would say, he will come back and say, no, I got it, baby girl.
Thank you.
I'll get it for you.
It'll stand out more than having your cleavage out or any other thing. They don't get that though.
Yeah, I ain't necessarily say send them a drink or whatever. Just kind of finesse it. You know what I'm saying? Women finesse stuff all the time. And women want men to always be out there being protective and this and that and blah blah blah. Whatever. But every now and then, it's okay. It's okay to say, walk up to a male and he has cologne on and say, damn, you smell good. Oh, really? Now you got his attention.
That's all I'm saying.
You understand what I'm saying? It ain't necessarily got buy him a drink or whatever, or you walk by and say, oh, you got that, just like Mo, just break the ice. Hey, I see you got that head really clean today from the barbershop. Just to let them know, hey, I'm a person with a sense of humor. I pay attention, all that. You know what I'm saying? You get all that just from little things like that. It don't necessarily have to be buying them a drink or whatever, Yeah,
I do think that we should compliment men more. I would compliment a man, but it's easier for me to compliment when I'm not interested in, because I'm not nervous around them. I'll be like, oh, you look nice. And you can tell they really appreciate it. But then they also be like, they that, that opens the door. So maybe that's what women can do, is just, compliment them.
Yeah, compliment is great.
Tamasha says, do you feel society today is hard for a man to be a man to a woman?
Yes.
Why so, babe?
Because everybody sees what everybody else is doing. And if you don't fit that norm of what other people are doing, then you're gonna always, like if you have, you're always gonna put that guy in that box of everybody else. Just because he's doing this or whatever, and he's not doing this, well, basically, it's a divide.
And you think it's something wrong with the man you got because
Exactly.
the other guy does, and that's not necessarily true.
What are the we live in mentality nowadays? What are the Joneses doing next door?
I think a man wants to feel like his woman sees only him, and vice versa. But the reality is, everybody sees everybody, and you just have to make that person feel special, and on both sides. I think it's men and women. Women want to feel like their man finds them beautiful, and men want to feel like their woman thinks they're a good provider. We just want to heal, just heal.
We do.
Heal. We just want to heal, and we're going to get off. And hopefully we've done a little healing or something. I don't know.
We did.
Yeah, we talked about the past, and I think everybody should do what makes them feel good. I think what's for you is for you, and what's for you is intentionally looking to find you.
Absolutely.
What is for you is out there making steps towards you. You have to believe it. You have to believe that, and you have to walk like it's coming towards you. I was telling Adrian earlier today, we were going through some issues, and there was a lot going on, a lot of finances going out of our house. And I just decided to not look at the situation, to know that everything I need is coming towards me. And it has worked, right? And I think I just changed my attitude. And I think you have to do it when it comes to money. You have to do it when it comes to relationships. If you believe that love is coming towards you, then stop the negative talk. Stop speaking against it. Speak towards it. And I believe that it will come in.
I love that.
Okay. You have a happily married black man and a single black man telling women what they're attracted to, and the majority of the women in this chat are telling them they're wrong. Where they do that at? You know where they do that at? Women, because women will tell men that they're wrong about how they think about themselves, which is hilarious. All right, Joda says, since Adrian said I should step outside my norm, does that mean I should reply to one of these dudes in my DM?
At least look into
it. At least look into it.
Yes.
It ain't necessarily. If somebody responds to you in your DM or whatever, and you respond back to them, and if they come back to you incorrectly, all you gotta do is block them. That's it.
That part.
I mean, you don't necessarily have to entertain it anymore. If it makes you feel a certain way of the way that he comes back to you, hey, just block him.
DeQueasy said, honestly speaking, we outnumber men 11-1 here in Atlanta. You have to do something to stand out. Doing a small gesture like a compliment, saying hi, buying a drink is not a big deal to get what you want. You know what? I know Mo was going to do the point. You know what I think, DeQueasy? And I definitely, love to see you on this journey. I know love is coming towards you. I think what I did that was different, because I'm very shy, right? I just am a nice person. And I think that a lot of times men, what I've learned, even men that I was not attracted to or not trying to get with, a lot of times they're so shocked that a woman is nice to them. What are we doing? What are we as women doing to men? Because a lot of times we just are not kind. And the problem is this, ladies. You cannot only be kind to men you're attracted to. Of course, it was easy to be kind to Adrian because he's an attractive man, but I'm just kind to everybody, right? And so I've heard so many men are nice to me. I have a lot of guy friends because I just like if somebody is in my DM when I was single that I did not like, I would still be kind to them, right? And eventually, I think so many of us feel like we got to automatically run someone through the checklist. And if you don't meet everything I want, I ain't got nothing to say to you. That attitude is ugly. And I think just smiling, I remember Chili told me this. She was like, Christal, because I was like, guys don't talk to me when I'm out. And she said, Christal, just smile at them. Because she was telling me this, we weren't even talking about just black men. It was like, I was like, well, you know, different races of men don't try to talk to me. And she said, I promise you they will if you just smile. So I think I told you guys this. I started going in the gas station, going in the store, and I would just smile. I would speak to every man I encountered. And when I tell you the difference was crazy, I see that sometimes they're just like, am I going to get cussed out? Like,
I have a challenge for your viewers.
Okay.
I have a challenge for your viewers. From now until Friday, when y'all come back on, right? Mm-hmm. From now until Friday, everywhere you go, gas station, grocery store, at the stoplight, even at the stoplight, just smile. Just smile, you know, smile, say, or whatever, or say good morning, or, you know, or you smell nice, or whatever like that. I guarantee, this is the country side of me that's coming out. I guarantee that you will have at least one, I'll say at least one number or one invite to a date.
I agree with that because I did have like a face that guys would be like, it's almost like a key, a magic key. And if you smile, they just light up like, oh, she smiled. And then somebody said they will mistake you for flirting. Like I said, I am nervous around guys I'm attracted to. I'm not around. So a lot of guys thought I liked them and I didn't. Well, but guess what? Nothing bad happened. If he thinks I like him,
guys, you can't complain about being single.
But also
speak to you because you're nice. You increase your odds. Like, come on, man. Half of this shit, I'm starting playing. Half of this shit is y'all. That attitude right there, with Adrian saying, do that, and just like Christal said, it'll make a change. Y'all don't even want to, you increase the odds of not being single if more guys try to holler at you, or at least, so what? You're not going to be interested in all of them, but there's a greater chance. Get out of here.
But if you plant good seeds, then good seeds come back to you.
See, now she's talking about, now you have a stalker. Just kidding. But how do you have a? I'm just saying, how do you have a stalker if you? Okay, first of all, if Christal walks by me, right? Let's do a show and tell here right quick. So Christal walks by me, just smile at me and say, "Hey, how you doing, baby girl?"
I'm good. How are you?
First of all,
when you say baby girl,
that right there is a total no-go. We already know what time he on. Does that make sense? Now, let's try it again. Hi. Hey, how you doing, beautiful? You doing all right today?
I'm good.
Let me open this door for you.
Thank you.
You see the difference in the maturity level of just words.
But even if he does say baby girl, because sometimes they will, Jamie says she's out here looking goofy, and I don't think so, Jamie. You're not out there looking goofy.
I'm so worried about looking.
But I think that even if he does say baby girl, because that does happen a lot, all you got to do, like I had a guy when I went out to this event yesterday, right? And I'm just nice to everybody, no matter what they look like. And that's to me the difference. I think a lot of women decide who they're going to be nice to. But see, the cute guy that you like is watching you be mean to everybody else and then be nice to him. And he sees that.
It's a turn off.
But this older gentleman, I went to the movie premiere and he came over and was just standing behind me. He was like, "Are you going in? I'll walk you to your seat." And I was like, okay. And then he asked me, could he carry my popcorn? And I just was being nice. Now then I realized I'm not interested. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that. But you don't have to be mean to someone because all they've done is show you interest. Like, what evil has he done? Because he said, baby girl, even if you don't like him, say he's ugly. It's okay. Thank you. I'm married. No, thank you. Oh, you ain't got, no, I'm good. And then it turns to then it's different. But I think taking all of this into consideration, right? All of it into consideration, I think everybody at the heart of it wants companionship and wants love. Everybody does. Men do, even though it was amazing to me to have so many guy friends to see they really do want love too, right? They're a little different in how they go about getting it because they're okay with other things in the pursuit of it. But they really do want someone that cares about them and that loves them and has their best interests at heart. And we do too. Now, if you don't want that, that's okay. But if you do,
see, girl, hell no. See, you could tell if I say if she's, let's just go back to the term baby girl. If I say baby girl, start licking my lips or whatever.
Yeah, it's like, when they look you up and down.
I mean that tells you right there what type of time they're on.
Yeah.
Now, if they say, well, baby girl, well, thank you, baby girl, and open the door or something like that, then it's a 50-50 chance. But what I'm saying to y'all, what I'm saying to you women out there, stop thinking that every man is the last man that you encounter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that's the best thing I can say tonight.
Come on, Edna.
Don't let the last man influence the next man, because not me, Christal and I, we always have this debate all the time, and she'll be like at midnight, Adrian, well, what do you think about this? Well, guess what? Adrian wants to go to sleep. It's time for you to, be quiet, because that's all what men want sometimes, just the quietness. But the thing of it is this: if you don't put the effort, you're not, whatever you put out is what you're gonna get back. So if you don't at least say, well, I'm willing to try, then guess what? That guy is not gonna be out there for you. You got to give a little, get a little.
But I do think that it's okay to be picky. But
it's okay. It's okay to be picky.
You should be picky, but you should be nice in your pursuit.
Exactly.
It does not work to be hateful
to
anyone that doesn't fit that thing. And I promise that energy, when you just get used to smiling, now it's obvious. It's second nature for me. When I'm out, I will. But I remember Chili telling me that. She was like, you white guys will holler at you, just smile at them. And sure enough, it's almost like, hi, how are you?
See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the type of time that we be
All
on.
day
Send drinks, ladies, and let him pay a light bill. See what I'm talking about? See,
that's our friend. Don't do that. That's our friend.
I'm just saying, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that just because we send you a drink down, or he sends you a drink. You know what I'm saying? We won't pay no light bill. Pay your own light bill.
How you get from light bill? God dang.
Yeah. So like I said, ladies, from now until I know. But what I'm saying, ladies, from now until Friday when Christal gets back,
at work, in the hallway,
at the gas station, wherever. If you see,
not to the Christal example of the guy that helped her at the movies took me there. The world swept up to their mind, immediately went to he's putting on an act to kidnap me. No, you know what? I thought, you know what? And that's so crazy. We have to change our thought. I just thought, like, when is the last time you went someplace and a man offered to carry your things for you? In high school, boys that thought you were cute would carry your books. This guy just carried my popcorn. He carried my popcorn and my phone. He was like, I'll get all that for you. And I was like, that is so sweet.
okay, Tammy Bowles, I see you. So if I call you baby boy, that's okay. Baby girl is a name for my daddy. I mean, I get it. I get it. But hold on. Listen to what I'm about to say. Do women, if you have a positive father in your life, do women look for men like their father? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And vice versa for men, right? So if a guy calls you baby girl, it's not in reference to I want you to look at me as your dad. I want you to look at me as representation of what you're looking for.
It's kind of like a little sweet type of thing, but I mean, just you don't have. I just think that sometimes women can be so angry, and I don't understand why would be angry for someone that's attracted to you.
Thank you, Christal, for that.
I don't understand why, and because think about men, a woman. I joked with Mo about the chubby girl that was flirting with him. He was nice he wasn't mad at her. Why are we mad when men like us? I don't understand that. Why are we angry when they like us? It just doesn't doesn't make sense.
It's discouraging the other man from coming over there and this dude is blocking.
I think sometimes you can feel like, because sometimes the way that some men holler at you is annoying. But when you realize that you're in control, you don't have to entertain him, but you also don't have to be mean, because if you're mean, it says more about you than him.
That part.
You can be forward and direct, but you can also be a nice person. So you can be forward and direct without being a bitch, right? So that's all I'm saying. I'm saying I've done it before. When I told y'all, I told that guy at McDonald's he couldn't afford this Christal, But
yikes.
Well, this guy, it was 2 crystals, one crystal, white crystal, and one black crystal. And the black guy, because I grew up in Oklahoma, was like, I'd rather take that crystal out, because the guys were like, picking out which one. Most of the store at that time, they had a crush on either one of us. So the black guy, that's a cook, says he likes the white crystal. He was the only black guy that said the white crystal. So I said, well, you couldn't afford me anyway. I thought it was a snappy comeback. But he was embarrassed because everybody in the whole store started laughing. And then when I saw him out, he was a tow driver. And I had to make sure that he didn't see me, because he wouldn't have told. He was a AAA driver. So it taught me, stop being bitchy.
Because it's unnecessary.
But I did, in my defense, he did say he liked the white girl better than me.
I mean, that's his preference.
Well, my preference was he couldn't have afforded me.
Okay, well, guess what? I got you, man.
Anyway.
But
I did learn that.
So all I'm saying is, I'm just asking, and the thing about it, I may not be here Friday. Well, I know I won't be Friday.
No, I wasn't saying that you were mentioned on me. I'm talking to Tammy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, I wasn't saying that. I was talking in general. Go ahead.
All I ask you is for your viewers, right? When y'all come back on Friday, when y'all first come on, tell everybody where you from, where you at, whatever you're doing, and then just put the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 7 of numbers that we'll know how many phone numbers or something that you got, and how did that work out for you? Just give them a smile.
Hold on, before we go, thank you, babe. Jamie has a question. This is one of my best friends. Jamie, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
So I want to circle back to what Adrian was saying, because I am the chick that, I do smile, and I feel like I'm looking real goofy and corny when I'm doing that, right? It feel awkward because I've always been told that I am unapproachable, right? And so I try to sit up, I try to, kind of lean forward, smile a little bit, but I do feel like it looks real awkward. So Adrian, you said something about like, let me get that door for you. And I say, thank you. But where do you go from there?
He'll take the rest. The right man will take the
Yeah,
rest.
the right man.
The right one. Okay.
Yeah, the right one. The right one to do the rest. But let
Yeah.
me get that door for you, right? And then if he follows, he follows you in or whatever, and if he goes separate ways or whatever like that, guess what? He wasn't for you. But if he follows you to like the drink, if you're going to get a drink or something like that, he follows you. Normally, could you know if a guy really drinks sodas or Gatorade or whatever, right? You'll know that because first of all, if he drinks sodas, he knows exactly where every soda's at in a gas station. They're predominantly in the same spot all the time. And you know where the Gatorade, you know where the water is and stuff like that. But if he makes it, if he, like you go to the soda aisle and he's like,
He's just looking around.
He is trying to get your attention.
Sometimes a guy will, and Jamie, are you paying attention?
I'm listening. I'm
No. I meant, are you paying attention to the guy in the store? Because if you go in a store and you smile and then he's looking at you, are you paying attention to the stuff that you're putting in your basket, or are you also being aware of him trying to make eye contact with you?
I'm probably trying to get in and get out the store.
Exactly. But see, I mean, but the thing of it is, I guarantee you, like I said, try the social. What she said, social event. Yeah, the social classroom experiment. This from now until Friday. If a guy, if you open the door and say thank you and this and that or whatever like that, just kind of give him a little bit more eye contact than you normally would because of you're trying to get in and out. You're trying to get in and out. But like I said, you just kind of gotta feel it.
I don't think, Jamie, they probably don't think that you're looking goofy. That's probably just what you're thinking in your head. I doubt they're thinking that.
Self-confidence.
That's a lot of times.
Yeah.
But I guarantee, I mean, if you see a guy that's attractive or whatever like that, if he's over there in the soda aisle, you get your soda, look at him and smile at him again.
They don't
just to double check.
Just tell him have a nice day or something like that. If you do that and he's interested, he will continue. Yeah, stop fighting with Mo in the chat. What is happening?
And that almost got kidnapped last year being nice to a man. I mean,
somebody almost got kidnapped being nice to a man.
See, that's what I'm saying. Y'all want dudes to be nice to you, but there's female dating coaches that got tired of talking to y'all. So why I don't even look. Y'all figure it out. We try to help y'all, and y'all.
Hey! This is not the energy. This is not the energy that we want.
Well, anyway.
Jamie, keep smiling and say something because Jamie has a very high-profile position where she lives. So I'm sure that probably is intimidating to people because you live in a small area where probably a lot of people know of you or know what you do. So I would say, and I also have created a profile for Jamie as well because I told her she needs a date online just to practice.
Mo, she's saying, you're gonna be in love, Mo. I'm not in love. Christal.
Both of you guys are gonna be in love. I'm speaking it into existence.
Christal set
These
up
are
a
both my
profile,
friends,
and
they're both gonna be in love.
All I'm saying is,
yes,
do the experiment and see if it works out for you. Let me know how that works out.
I'm gonna do that tomorrow and Friday. What time y'all logging in?
We're going to be on Friday at 10. But Jamie, you and I need to talk. You and I need to talk in just a second because we need to talk about this other thing. But all right, well, guys, we love you guys for watching. We went a little bit over tonight. We went a lot over. But make sure you're tuned in on Friday. On Friday at 10 o'clock, we'll be right back with Relationship Recap, the Never Ever Met. We love you guys for watching. If you heard something tonight that registered, take what you need, take the meat, throw back the bones. It's all good. We love you guys. It's all said in love. And definitely when you come back on Friday, let us know how the experiment went. We love you guys and we'll see you next time.
Friday, y'all.